Gaza, then there's not really a discussion for me.
When we met at this barbecue restaurant in Atlanta, all four told me they were raised and originally registered as Democrats. But this year, the president's handling of the Israel-Gaza war has turned them away.
I think what Biden has done in aiding and abetting a genocide is just something I cannot stand for.
You're willing to withhold your vote in the presidential election unless there is a ceasefire.
Yes.
And it's implemented.
Yes.
Not voting could mean Donald Trump gets into office. Do you think he'll be better on Gaza?
Trump would probably say flatten Gaza and make it into a golf course. I have absolutely no faith in him.
Would you not say that also the people who are not voting for one of the two people who are the likely people to really be in this race have a role to play in kind of giving the race to Donald Trump in a state like Georgia where it's going to be like razor thin?
Yeah, no, I'll do you one better, actually. I think that just means that's why the Democrats should listen.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, the Democrat Civil War is the most entertaining story in news today, okay? Because they are panicking. That's not an exaggeration, guys. They actually legitimately are panicking because Biden is losing Gen Z voters, okay? Remember, I try to tell you guys, this election is going to come down to the Democrats and their far left base, right? Is the far left base, aka Gen Z, okay, aka the more, let's say, inexperienced voters. I don't want to offend anybody in this video, right? Because, hey, I don't want these people to vote for Biden, right? Let's say the more inexperienced voters, if they don't come out and vote, right? The people with less life experience, that doesn't really know too much about the world, that, is a little bit more naive, okay? Yeah. If they don't come out and vote for Biden, it's over, period. Point blank, period. And one of Joe Biden's biggest issues is this war in Gaza, in which it looks like Gen Z, they're saying, look, we're not going to vote for Joe Biden because he supports Israel too much, okay? He's not doing enough to stop Israel to have a permanent ceasefire, so therefore we're not going to vote for him. And the most hilarious thing about this, okay, the most hilarious thing about it is the fact that this, but Trump would be worse, counter argument doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. That's the funny part about it, okay? Because what the rebuttal usually is that, well, you should vote for Biden because Trump will be worse. Trump would just let Israel do whatever, which, I mean, hey, I can't say whether or not that's true or untrue, considering how Trump has probably been the most pro-Israel president that we had in a long time. But I don't necessarily think that Trump is that cool with Benjamin Netanyahu. I actually think that Trump may actually not be on board with prolonged war from Israel, to be quite honest with you. But regardless, right? Regardless, the whole Trump will be worse thing on this issue doesn't work because these people are willing to say, well, if Biden's not going to do anything about it and Trump's not going to do anything about it, then we'd rather punish Biden for not doing anything about it and let him know that we're serious. And ultimately, at the end of the day, considering the state of the economy and the state of the country and the fact that everybody knows that the country's in a much better place under Trump, basically, the choice comes down to, well, you can have war in Gaza with Biden and have a terrible country, right, domestically, or you can have war in Gaza with Trump or have a better country. That's what it comes down to, right? And I think that is the way that a lot of people are thinking about it. And I think that's the main reason why, the typical Trump bad, Orange Man bad response doesn't work, right? It's not working anymore. Like the Trump derangement card has been pulled one too many times and it's now ineffective, right? It's ineffective, okay? And that is showing up in the polls. And that is why Joe Biden is still trying to unconstitutionally buy their votes in response. Take a look.
In the 2020 NBC News exit poll, candidate Biden led former President Trump by 24 percentage points among voters under 30. But an NBC survey in January had President Biden up by just 8 percentage points among that group. Another poll last month showed Mr. Trump ahead by 18 points among voters under 30.
You spoke to Congressman Steve Horsford today. He's the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. What did he have to say about this issue and whether he thinks it's going to break through for voters?
That's right. Congressman Horford is in one of those swing districts in a swing state in Nevada. He was here in Chicago to speak to DNC convention staffers, just to kind of introduce himself, kind of hear about the convention. But I asked him after he spoke to these staffers about the student loan program that Biden talked about. And he was adamant that it wasn't just young voters that could benefit or that would gravitate towards President Biden because of this action, but voters overall. I asked him, though, if there is an issue that the president's campaign has in terms of messaging with young voters and letting them know about his policies. Take a listen to his answer.
I have encouraged the campaign to do, and they're doing it, is to meet people where they are. I'm in a competitive district. I don't take anything for granted. People need to see the record between what we've had under President Biden and Vice President Harris or what we could have under Donald Trump.
Yeah, and I think people have seen that, okay, and they've weighed out what we had under Trump versus what we have right now under Biden. I think people made the choice that, I think Trump is better, right? I'm pretty sure that is why you're seeing what you're seeing in the polls, right? People have actively decided that I think that Trump is better, right? I'm just saying, like, you know, at this point, Democrats are desperate, okay? They really are desperate. This is why they're doing things like trying to forgive student loan debt unconstitutionally and then turning around and blaming MAGA forces for stopping the Biden administration from doing something that they know is unconstitutional, okay? Because Congress has the power of the purse, okay? And they're the ones that have to act in order to forgive student loan debt. But Biden is trying to bypass that and then trying to cry foul when MAGA forces, aka conservative judges, say, no, you can't do this, right? It's just so funny how that works. So that being said, again, they're desperate, okay? They're so desperate that you have the Democrats now coming out and begging RFK Jr.'s running mate, Nicole Shanahan, to drop out of the race. Now, why are they doing that? Well, it's because of the fact that Nicole Shanahan is a far left progressive, okay? She is a rich, wealthy donor to RFK. And he chose her to be his running mate. She's from the San Francisco area. Okay, she believes in being soft on crime. I mean, she's as far left as it gets. Okay, she's as far left as it gets. And like I said, when he picked her, yeah, Democrats were gonna go into panic mode because she clearly is a pick that will position RFK as more leftist, okay? And those are the type of voters that Democrats want, right? Those are the type of voters that they need in order to win. So if RFK starts taking away more votes from Biden, which he will for sure, then that's going to be an issue for Biden, right? That's going to cause him a lot of problems in the election. And Democrats know this because, again, you have Khanna, who's a Democrat from California, coming out and begging Nicole Shanahan to quit, right? Begging her to quit. So without further ado, let's actually get into this.
Just in tonight, a surreal story from the world of politics. The running mate for RFK Jr. is publicly revealing that she received a letter from Democratic Congressman Khanna. Nicole Shanahan says that Khanna is asking her to step down from the ticket because his candidacy hurts President Biden's chances. Shanahan says, in part, Roe encouraged me to run, that it's wrong for anyone to threaten me against running. She goes on to say, clearly Roe has changed his stance based on pressure from his party, that it's anti-democratic. I'm very disappointed that he has been pressured into issuing this letter to me publicly. He could have called me privately. Now, the congressman is here with us tonight, and he joins me to respond in a moment. But first, remember, a campaign official for RFK said that her number one priority is to prevent Biden from winning. And tonight, CNN's K-File reports that Rita Palmer attended a Stop the Steal rally, including the rally that preceded the Capitol insurrection. She also has posted praise for Trump, including the hope that he wins in 2024 and that he's her favorite president, she says. Congressman Roe.
Okay, so I want you guys to notice the fascinating framing here from CNN. So they open up the segment about Nicole Shanahan and the fact that Khanna is essentially asking her to step down, and she's speaking out about that. But then Abby Phillip, interestingly, says, well, wait, remember, before we get into this, you guys have to remember, RFK is actually MAGA, right? RFK is in the race to make sure that Biden doesn't win. So keep that in mind as you are listening to Ro Khanna try to justify being against democracy, right? Because that's what this is, okay? Trying to beg RFK's vice president to drop out of the race because you think that she's a threat to Biden, to me, seems to be a little anti-democratic, right? Coming from the party that's supposed to believe in democracy. But once again, we have evidence of Democrats not actually really believing in democracy as much as they believe in democracy TM, aka power for Democrats.
Khanna joins me now. Congressman, we have this letter. We just received it that you sent to Nicole Shanahan. What did you say to her?
Well, look, I've known Nicole Shanahan for years. She's been a supporter. I would say she's an acquaintance. And we've shared common issues around the climate, common issues around reproductive rights. And when she called me to say that she was going to join Robert Kennedy's ticket, I said, well, Nicole, why don't you join the Democratic coalition, support President Biden? He will better advance climate. I understand you have disagreements with the president. I do too on certain issues like Gaza, but join the coalition. And then I texted her that, always respectfully, but I was hoping to make the case that her issues would be better served joining the coalition.
AKA, she's a progressive, just like he is, and she's upset with Biden because Biden's not far left enough, right? That's what she's upset about, okay? And they're upset because she's a far leftist that is running with RFK, who's going to take away far left votes from Biden. It's really that simple.
So she says that you changed your position, that you actually told her that anyone should run and shouldn't be threatened for doing so. She posted this exchange on X, and then you responded to her with a text that you sent her afterwards. What's your response to her claiming that you're not telling the truth?
Well, I don't think she's saying that. I did say that anyone has the right to run and that no one should threaten her or no one should engage in character assassination of her, and I stand by that. And even in the text I sent her, I said, look, she has absolutely the right to run, and I will never disparage her personally. But I will make the case, I'm making the case tonight, that given the stakes, given her own view in regenerative agriculture, on climate, on reproductive rights, how could she aid candidacy that's simply going to help reelect Donald Trump? And I want to make the case for her that she'd be better served supporting Joe Biden.
So by all of this, are you saying that you are worried that an RFK candidacy will end up costing President Biden the election?
I think the president can win regardless, but will it make it harder for the president? Absolutely. I mean, I don't think that is revealing any unique math. I mean, the reality is that any third-party candidates help Donald Trump because he cannot get to 50%. And so if we lower the ceiling of what he needs to get, it makes it harder for the president to win. Do I think?
Well, no, that's ridiculous. Trump can get to 50%. In fact, in polls, head-to-head matchups between Joe Biden and Trump, Trump has gotten to 50%. And in fact, there's a lot of polls showing Trump over 50%, which, again, is pretty damn good for a Republican. But what it's really about is the fact that Trump has a base. He has a strong base of supporters that are going to support him no matter what, okay? He has people that actually want to vote for him. Biden doesn't have a base, okay? His base are Trump deranged individuals, okay, and progressives. Biden doesn't have anybody that actually really likes him, okay? He doesn't have anybody like that. So what happens is that because you don't have any hardcore Biden supporters, his votes are easy to pick off, right? It's easy to get people to vote for another candidate or to sit out, and that's what's happening, right? That's what's happening. So RFK, who's a liberal and a Democrat historically, and right now he is, so when you throw him in, and then you throw in other third-party candidates like Jill Stein and Cornel West, who are also progressives, and then you throw in Nicole Shanahan being RFK's running mate, who's a far-left progressive, you're going to have a lot of voters that have options outside of Joe Biden. And that's just reality, and they're likely to choose those options because nobody is a hardcore Biden supporter. That is the reality of the situation that Biden is facing right now. Because the only reason that his campaign was successful in 2020 was the fact that, well, a lot of people in this country bought into the Trump derangement. Well, everything is Trump's fault, especially during the pandemic. Everything is Trump's fault. But now with Biden in office, we actually have 4 years of Trump and 4 years of Biden to evaluate. The people are saying, well, Trump was better. And that's why his support is sticking, right? That's why his support is so strong while Biden's is continuing to get weaker and weaker and weaker, because people can clearly evaluate the differences between the Biden administration and the Trump administration. So again, Ro Khanna here is really all base. But he is right. He is admitting something that the mainstream liberal media refuses to admit, which is that RFK is a lefty and he will take away votes from Joe Biden. A vast majority of the polls support this idea that, hey, RFK is hurting Biden more than hurting Trump.
The president can overcome that. We can overcome that and win, yes. But why diminish the odds and help tilt any advantage to Donald Trump?
Do you think that Nicole Shanahan is aware of what you are saying there, that this could end up resulting in a Trump presidency yet again?
I don't know. I'd love to have that conversation with her publicly, maybe on your show. I mean, the reality is she's been extraordinary in funding regenerative agriculture in places like Iowa State. She has worked on big climate issues. And so I was perplexed, baffled why she would choose to enter at this time, given the stakes that it's a binary choice. Ordinarily, I understand you want to get your views out, you want to push for reform, but I hope she understands that what she is doing really could put Trump back in the White House and undermine the goals that she believes in.
Well, again, it's just so funny how the democracy-crats that aren't very democratic show you that they're not democratic anytime there's a threat to their democracy, okay? Because you would think that people who believe in democracy so much would say, well, she can run because she wants to run, right? She feels that, hey, she, wants to be VP and we welcome her to run. We're still going to have a competitive campaign and we're going to do whatever we can do to keep our votes and, do what we got to do to win. You would think that that would be the answer from people that actually really believe in democracy. But again, because these people don't believe in democracy, basically what they're saying now is that no. The people can't have a choice, right? The people should not have a choice of replacing Joe Biden. They didn't have a choice in the Democrat primary. Now he's saying during the general election, they shouldn't have a choice outside of Trump. It should be just Biden and Trump and everybody else should drop out. Again, amazing. Amazing how these people show you every single time when it comes to a threat to their power that they don't believe in any of the things they claim they believe in.
I mentioned in tonight's reporting that the New York-based RFK Jr. campaign official, she previously promoted these false claims that the 2020 election was rigged, and she actually attended the January 6th rally. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it's appalling. Look, I used to admire Robert Kennedy's environmental activism, and I just don't understand what he's doing. I mean, denying that January 6th, that the people who beat police officers vandalized the building and were attacking colleagues of mine while I was in the complex, that is somehow just a form of protest, which is what he has said, and people shouldn't be prosecuted. And then being more to the right, way more to the right than either Donald Trump or Joe Biden on this unconditional support for Netanyahu. I mean, I just don't understand what he's trying to achieve.
Very interesting indeed. Congressman Khanna, we would love to have you.
Yeah, so again, they have to throw in there that, RFK is MAGA, right? Reminder to the Democrat viewers of CNN, RFK is MAGA, okay? Why are you thinking about voting for this guy? He's on the side of Trump, and if you vote for him, then you're allowing Trump to win. Again, fascinating, okay? Extremely fascinating stuff. But what you're seeing here is clearly and obviously the mainstream liberal media and Democrats in full-blown panic mode. They're now basically demanding that RFK's progressive running mate drop out because she's hurting Biden's chances of winning. It's so hilarious to see all of this unfold. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.